Okay, Niasan, we are live.
Greetings and welcome to Africa Online Media Corporation. It is another Sunday, it is another day that Africa Online comes on to do what it does best, talk to the people about things concerning their lives. Here we go, it is Sunday, and of course, it is winter for those of us in North America, not winter yet, fall, it is cold. It was 72 degrees this morning, but it's gradually getting colder. That said, I hope you're all doing your best. Okay, there comes our co-anchor. And Reverend, I hand over to you. Welcome to the show. Yes, Ambassador Lisa, I wanted you to take over.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said co-chair. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Pam. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, everyone, everywhere, depending on where and when you are joining us. Sorry I am late, but I was having some network issues over here, and my family is having a birthday dinner for me downstairs that I had to sneak away from. So I can change my background. Here we go. So it is, I heard Neosang say that we were already in fall, and it's a little chilly here in Philadelphia. Well, actually, I'm not in Philly, I'm in Trenton, New Jersey. It's a little chilly here, but we're still in fall, and it is a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful day, Lord's Day outside. And we are here to talk about transportation and telecommunication. And we are so delighted that our guest is back with us this week, Antonio Thompson. So we are looking forward to hearing your perspective on transportation and telecommunication. And prayerfully, we will have some bus drivers from Philadelphia set the system on a little bit later. Reverend Pam?
Yeah, yes, ma'am, but Niasan needs to do his editorial. So
that's okay. I wasn't sure where we were. So
happy birthday to you.
Thank
you
you.
are so faithful to give up your birthday dinner.
Yes.
I only to be on the show. Thank you so much, madam.
And my birthday queen shirt.
I know. So over to you, Mr. Asonglevan Kemleke.
Thank you very much. It is Sunday, the 23rd day of November. That is the 327th day of this year, 2025. And that leaves us with just 38 days to go before this year, 2025, is out of the way. Today is the 47th Sunday of 2025, on the 48th week of 2025, when we use United States calculations. With nothing special to celebrate or to remember, we go straight to the topic of the day, which is the letter T in our STEW acronym. Yes, the letter T here is for transportation, telecommunications. Yes, those are the two topics. Transport and telecommunication, both are important to humanity. So when we talk transport, we are alluding to the physical movement of people and goods from place to place, while telecommunication or communication involves the exchange of information and ideas. Transportation would therefore refer to the physical movement of people, goods, or animals from one location to another, and encompasses various methods or modes, such as roads, railways, airways, waterways. Of course, those are the things. And then, of course, communication, on the other hand, would include things like sharing information, sharing ideas, feelings between individuals and groups. Yes, that is it. 7 years ago, when we discussed this topic, we kicked off with one belief that because Africa is what it is lacking in everything. So we also noted that with nearly 1.5 million or billion people living on its shore, within its shores, 30 million square, that is, its area is 30 million square kilometers. That land surface needs a lot of transportation and communication infrastructure. Is it there? Is it not there? Well, it is not there in most parts. Over and above the concern that people and goods need to be moved in order to ensure judicious distribution, is the historical fact that Africa has remained the most abused of all 7 continents. Deprived of its virile and hardworking people through the slave trade, torn apart by colonization and exploited for its mineral wealth and natural resources, cry the beloved continent, if I can put it that way, is not even close enough to summarize the pain we feel when we look at the continental map and the deprivations of its people because of what humanity does to humanity. Well, unfortunately, that is. It is very, very unfortunate. But all the same, we keep hope alive. So what am I talking about? What am I rambling all about? All the same, just wait with me, bear with me, and let's go. Just an attempt to say in many sentences what we may say in 6 words. Where a road passes, development follows. Where a road passes, development follows. Is that really what we see on the continent? Hardly. Robert Schuller tells us, quote, problems are not stop signs. They are guidelines. So when we face a problem, we get guidelines and we try to fix them. As mentioned earlier, with its more than 30 million square kilometers of land and nearly 1.5 billion inhabitants, Africa and its people simply do not have the means to connect hamlets, link villages and communities, let alone connect one another or one major town or city to another, let alone connect one country to another. In order to go to Nigeria from Cameroon, you have to go through London or Paris before you get back to Lagos or Abuja. That is the reality of Africa. You don't go straight from one country to the other because things are not the way they ought to be. And in a continent that remains the victim of almost everything bad under the sun, the means, they say, are not just there. Yet the continent is the richest on planet Earth, yet its mineral wealth and natural resources are exploited not to develop its farm-to-market roads, build intercity roads and railways, and air and seaports, but they are exploited to build Western cities, turn Western landscapes into a touristic sites, and leave the continent, the poor child, on its own. Africa today remains a poor child in a world that has dropped an atomic bomb, landed man on the moon, and eliminated each other just by blowing a powder into their faces. Africa, however, is not losing hope or sleep. So let us slow down, but take courage and make sure that we do what we do best by talking about the problems, raising awareness, and ensuring that we raise these problems, we talk these problems, we make sure that those who are concerned are conscientized to be able to follow up and to do the right thing by making sure that they give Africa what Africa needs, because as someone said, problems are not stop signs, they are guidelines. I think I said that at the beginning. All the same, as Maya Angelou rather says, encounter many defeats, but we must never be defeated. So Africans, you may encounter many defeats, but please do not be defeated. Do not give up. Do not lose hope. There is always room for hope, and hope is the greatest thing that leads us on. That being said, I hope she can come on, the chair of AfricaOnline Media Corporation, to formally welcome all of us and let us get this show started. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nia Song. And again, before we went live, I was complimenting you for being here without a hat. You look nice. I thank you for your faithfulness. Our birthday girl, I hope your sister will be able to show her face. We wish you happy birthday. Singing is not one of my fortes, so I'm not even going to try to sing because I don't want this program to crash. Before I welcome our guests, I want to thank you, Nia Song, and our co-anchor, Ambassador Lisa, and our regular contributor, Dr. Gloria Crossley, Miss Senior Virginia World, you know, looking beautiful with her crown. She's faithful. and she actually is responsible for our guest here being today. So when you were reading your editorial, it just dawned on me, 9 years ago when I coined the acronym STEW, I was just putting together a summary of the main problems that we have in Africa. At the time, I did not even think about the interconnectedness of transportation and telecommunication. But thinking about it now, they are so connected. It's incredible. Knowing that transportation, they are both key infrastructure challenges we have on the continent. Our transportation move products and goods and people. Telecommunication is moving information, but also it has helped us with cutting back on some of the transportation challenges. Now we can use Zoom like we are doing here. We don't have to travel to DMV to meet Dr. Crosslin or our brother, Mr. Thompson, or you. There are some ways in Bowie. We can actually meet online virtually, and that's communication. So it just dawned on me. I was like, oh, wow, isn't this amazing? So I would like to hand over to Dr. Crosslin to say something about our guest, and then we are going to give the mic to our special guest, Mr. Thompson, who would take a minute to introduce himself to our global audience. This is being streamed on YouTube. Excuse me, it's going to be posted on Facebook, and I'll send you the link. And for years to come, decades to come, people are going to listen to what you're saying. So thank you on behalf of Africa Online Media Corporation for coming, for pressing your way. I know last Sunday you were not able to make it, but we are happy you are here today. So Dr. Crosslin, kindly introduce our guest, and then we'll give him the mic to fully introduce himself to our audience and to us. Thank you, Dr. Crosslin, for bringing him on.
Yes, thank you so much, Her Excellency. Ambassador, I know you say you're not ambassador, but you definitely are a queen mother. You are a pharmacist, and so that's considered Dr. Pam Fomenong, and you speak multiple languages, and your dad was like the chief of police and commissioner.
Let's talk about our guest. Let's talk about our guest.
Prosecutor, and then we have Professor Niasan, who's a journalist, and then we have our global audience, and we also have the co-host, which is Prophetess Lisa, and our guest, I met him through his organization on clean energy, which is really vast. I consider him an expert in everything, and he will introduce himself, but I just want to thank him for coming today. My issue with transportation and STEM is that I need to learn a whole lot. And once I hear a little bit, then I have a lot of questions. So with no further ado, I would like to introduce you all to Antoine Thompson. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Crosslin.
Well, let me first say thank you for having me, Antoine Thompson, CEO and Executive Director of Greater Washington Region Clean Cities Coalition. We are a nonprofit organization that focuses on the environment, climate solutions, clean transportation, reducing pollution from the transportation sector, and really just excited to be a part of this conversation. Our office, a lot of the work that we do is to look at technology deployment to help improve lives through reducing pollution from the transportation sector. But I just want to share a couple of things about myself. I live in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. My office covers, we serve DC, Washington, DC, parts of Maryland, and parts of Virginia outside of DC as well. I am a native of Buffalo, New York as well. I've been in the DC area 11 years. I also studied at the University of Ghana in Accra, Legon in West Africa. And I've been involved in, I've been involved in Pan-African issues throughout my life. And then also I was in public sector as well. I used to be a New York State Senator and chaired the Environmental Committee. And then I was a city council member in the city of Buffalo, New York as well. So just glad to be here and looking forward to conversation.
Oh my God, you just got me excited. You got me excited talking about going to school in University of Ghana, East Legon. Guess what? And Dr. Crossan, you're going to make this happen. Our event is in Ghana, Accra next year. Our sister organization, Africa's Brain Bank, our 7th annual summit and charity ball will be in Accra, Ghana. And would love for your organization to be a part of it, a major part of it, because we're going to be breaking ground in Ada, and we want you to help us make it a clean city. Bring your energy background, your transportation background. We are hoping the president will be there. I think he will be there most likely, but we're waiting for official confirmation. But you definitely need to come. I'm so excited because I didn't even know this. So thank you so much for coming once more. And I'm going to hand the mic over to our anchors to pose the first question. This show is unscripted. So if you hear somebody jumping, we're not being disrespectful. It's just an unscripted show. It is authentic. A March will make us 10 years doing this. And Ambassador Lisa, Dr. Crossley, we need to do something major near song for our 10th anniversary in March. We need to do something major. But I'm going to hand over the mic to actually, let me just do this before I hand over to the anchors. Since you lived in Ghana, what kind of challenges did you personally experience with either transportation or telecommunication?
Yeah, so it was some years ago when I was there. It was in 94, 95. And you know, my understanding, Ghana has evolved dramatically since then. I actually just spoke in Northern Africa 3 years ago at a clean energy conference in Algeria. But I would say that, yes, there were challenges with roads, infrastructure. When it rained, the infrastructure wasn't strong enough didn't have good drainage. Many roads still weren't paved. And Mobitel and some of those were really just getting off the ground back when I was there. When there were storms, it was a very fragile grid system. I'm sure many of those things are probably a lot better than today than they were years ago. But those were some of the immediate experiences that I encountered back then.
Awesome. All right, uncles, take it away.
Ambassador, please, you first.
Thank you so much. Again, we appreciate you being here. What should we call you? Senator, Mayor? I'm telling you, I just heard so many things. I'm like, I'm not sure what to call you. But
just call me Antoine, it's fine.
Thank you so much, Antoine. So you're here to talk about telecommunication and transportation. I heard you say Ghana. I heard you say New York. I heard you say Maryland. Exactly what is telecommunication and what is transportation? Let's start with the very basics.
Yeah, I'll really dig into the transportation sector for us. So for us, as stated earlier, transportation is about moving people or moving goods or providing services. So for our office, we're really looking at how do we use technology to reduce climate change, but in particular, reducing pollution through technology. So whether that's anti-idling, making sure that we just don't let vehicles run and run and run, that companies and organizations have anti-idling programs, whether it's looking at medium to heavy duty trucks, commercial and medium duty vehicles, that they are using different alternative fuels instead of traditional diesel fuel, which is the most toxic, whether it's school buses, whether it's delivery trucks, You all don't get snow, at least not, you got to go real high up to get snow, but over here, especially originally being from Buffalo, but in our area, we still get some snow in the DC area, not a whole lot in the metro area, but we do have a lot of big 18-wheeler trucks and smaller that emit that drive off of diesel fuel, and diesel is the most dirtiest fuel on the market. And so we look at biofuels. How can you take some of the soybean and corn and fats and take that to use it for low emission fuel, which will be good, reduces rates of asthma and things of that nature. We also look at electric vehicles. So our office currently runs over 12 different electric vehicle related projects, everything from trying to get EV charging stations at workplaces, apartments, electric school buses, to ports, to workplaces, multifamily housing, because so many people that don't own their own home, where they live in apartment buildings. And so you want to try to get charging there or at supermarkets, marketplaces, hotels, et cetera. So we work on that as well. We also look at we're looking at airplanes right now as well. So we're trying to get airplanes to use biofuels and other low emission fuels as well. We do a lot of, we look at public policy, right? What type of policies should state and local governments enact or change to make it easier for us to have a cleaner transportation system? One of my favorite projects is around electric school buses. There was a report that was done years ago by the Natural Resources Defense Council, and it showed that the air on a school bus is more toxic than standing behind that school bus if it's run on diesel fuel, because of the fact that the air is trapped inside of the bus.
Okay.
And so it makes it, a situation where people who are riding on these buses are just hearing a lot of fumes. Electric school buses don't make any noise. They're cleaner, and there's a lot of data and reports that show that, number one, there's no tailpipe emissions going inside the cabin of the bus. Two, the drivers don't have to yell at students because the buses don't make all that noise. Three, when they drive through neighborhoods, they're not polluting the air in the neighborhoods as well. And then four, they say that some of the reports show that students are less combative, more well-behaved on an electric school bus because they're not yelling, screaming, they're quiet. It's easy, and it improves their student behavior, not just to public health, but also their behavior as well. So those are some of the transportation. We do a fleet coaching. We provide a lot of technical support to fleets as well. We do one-on-ones. We do trainings. We have an annual conference as well. We also help our members and stakeholders try to get public and private sector funding to help them transition to low to zero emission fuels as well. So that's just a snapshot of some of the things we do when we think about transportation. Of course, telecommunications is also part of that because of there's a thing called telematics where you can get reports and all that from the vehicle. Is it driving fast? Does it need an oil change? So the computer is the technology from that computer on the vehicle. The same is true now with telecommunications, whether it's whether it's a gas powered or electric, propane, et cetera. Now with technology, you can learn a lot about the driver and the vehicle, when to charge, when to fuel, when is maintenance. All those things can help with the performance of the vehicle and also the safety of the worker, community, and the vehicle itself.
Wow. Before we proceed, please, Mr. Thompson, kindly put your website and your company information in the chat box so
Yeah,
that
well,
everybody who hears what you're saying can reach out for more, you know.
yes.
Okay, Uncles.
Thank you so much for that explanation. And when you said, I had already reached out to a few of my bus driver friends here in Philly, and when you talk about the planes, I hadn't thought about our airplanes. I've now reached out to all of my flight club. I was like, I need somebody to come on here and tell me what kind of fuel we're using in our planes. But I don't think our airports have switched over to biofuel as of yet.
They
Okay,
need to. They need to.
they need to.
They need to. And just on that really quickly, the air quality around airports is terrible, and there are higher rates of asthma and cancer and other respiratory related illnesses within a 5 to 10 mile radius of airports.
Wow. I know that some years back, before the pandemic started, one of our bus depots were looking to expand, and the community around there was in such an uproar because they were talking about how sick their children were and it's not like homes are actually right there. There would have been some, there's some residential areas, but they're not right where they were going to build. But the neighbors got in such an uproar and they protested that they decided not to build, and it was because of the asthma. It was something I would have never thought about.
Lupus.
The fuel, so where does fossil fuel come from, and why is it so dangerous?
Well, what happens is they burn it. And so, most fossil fuels come from the earth, but just because it comes from the earth doesn't mean it's used properly, right?
Oh, okay.
Because they're burning it and it's going through a process, the smell of it and all the fumes from it get into the atmosphere. Not only does it get into an atmosphere, it gets into your house because remember, air comes into your property and is trapped in your house, right? So when we talk about emissions or fumes, it's not like years ago, although some of the big trucks, of course, when you see them on the highway, you get all that black smoke that comes in your car, that's some fossil fuel, right? Because you got to burn it. So anytime you got to burn that stuff, of course, it's going to have carbon dioxide, monoxide, and everything else that is not good for you. And that's a large part of it. And so what we try to get them to do is understand that everything is not going to be electric. And some right now, because the technology is not practical, but what they can do is they can look at alternative fuels as a way that can reduce pollution, but also understand that the costs to transition to some of these cleaner fuels can be expensive. So there are what we call, there are steps until we get to totally zero emission fuels. And so that's why we can look at propane, renewable natural gas.
Okay.
We can look at biofuels. We can look at more higher rates of ethanol, right? Biodiesel. Planes, they're using sustainable aviation fuel. Not all of them, but many of them are. And it's important because there's so many respiratory related illnesses that come as a result. And people don't always connect the dots between living near a highway or living near a bus depot, which many of those are often in Black communities or low income communities as well, rural communities to some degree. And the air quality shortens the lifespan, right? And so that's why we're trying to get more and more people to use low to zero emission fuels. And I think in Africa is in a unique position because there's so much agriculture there, right? And even in the United States, I would love to see more Black and African farmers growing soybean, using corn to support the biofuels industry, right? And our lifespan is shortened because of bad transportation policies.
Wow. Bad transportation policies.
This is scary. This is scary. I never thought of that.
Never thought of that. Never.
Well, the only time I got concerned is like if I'm driving on the road and I see a Smoky Joe passing by, I kind of speed up. I mean, Smoky Joe is a car that smokes, that puts out all the stuff. That's what, I mean, we used to call them in Smoky Joe. But I really never thought about it. And the one with the school bus is very scary. I don't even think parents know about it, even the schools.
Well, the other part about it is a lot of churches and community organizations also have what we call legacy buses, buses that a transportation company may have had years ago. They sell that bus or they donate that bus to a church or community organization, and then they're taking that diesel bus all around the world and thinking they're doing good work, but don't realize that they are making the passengers sick by having all that diesel fume. That's why it's always so loud. The same thing when you're on a plane, right? You can smell when you're on a plane, you can smell the diesel, right? Right. But you know, you live in a life, so you don't care about it for that hour or two or 8 hours.
We don't pay attention to it.
I don't think I've paid attention to the smell on the plane either.
Yes, but those fumes, you know, they're not good for you, right?
Oh God.
It's probably why the stewardess comes through, and I don't know why they wait until everybody gets on the plane, but they come by with the cans and they just hold up and they walk through the plane spraying. I said, why do you spray when the passengers get on the plane? Seems like that would be something that you would do before they get on the plane.
I don't know, but you know, there's the fumes in that on that plane are not good for you.
I'm going to pay attention the next time.
Okay, this is a problem, Mr. Thompson. You have to come up with another way of mode of transportation from here to Africa. But we're talking about 13, 17-hour flights. That is scary.
Well, what they're looking at now, there have been international flights by some of the major airlines using sustainable aviation fuel. Some of the European airlines have already started to pivot to using more sustainable aviation fuel. So it's a big thing. If you have a conference, you definitely want to have a panel on that because Africa needs, it's a great opportunity for African countries to lead on it and not follow on it, right? And so that's the wave of the future, looking at planes that fly not only on biodiesel, they may fly on electric, they may fly on other fuels, but everyone is trying to get away from using traditional diesel fuel as the way to fly planes moving forward. And if you're not hearing those conversations, there's a saying, I didn't invent it. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So we need to be at the table, leading those conversations.
Wow. I certainly agree that we need to be having those conversations. I know my Pilots Club, Black Pilots of America, we will be hosting, Philadelphia will be hosting our conference in 2028. And I'm going to make sure that is a conversation that is on the table. So I'm taking notes and I'm writing to them at the same time. Like, do you know this? What kind of fuel we use at the airport?
Ambassador Lisa, 2028 is 2.5 years from now. You get ready for Ghana. He will be in Ghana in September, Labor Day weekend.
Yes, I know that. Oh, Mr. Thompson, you saying it's going to be in Ghana?
Yes, I'm going to send him an invitation. In the next 24 hours, he's going to get an invitation from me. I don't waste time. You know me. And Dr. Crofton, thank you so much. But Nia Song, we need you to pose a question to our guest. You've been too quiet.
Yeah, I was going to ask Mr. Thompson, welcome him to the show first, and ask him why is the world so reluctant to go to those fuels that are effective, that are efficient, that are less dangerous to our health?
Well, there's a lot of money in doing things the same way. The profit motive is real. There are interests that often want to keep business as usual, and so it's a matter of convenience and investments that they have made that they want to continue to do it that way. All the science is there. Companies have known for years the health effects, the environmental effects of doing traditional fossil fuels. And I'm not saying we got to get rid of all fossil fuels. What I'm saying to you is that if we're going to use them, let's use them in the greenest, most sustainable manner possible. Most of the industries are looking at ways that they can do it in a more sustainable and a more environmentally and people-friendly manner. And so we need global pressure on that. We need global leadership on that. We need localized leadership on that, both in the public, private, faith, and community sectors as well. But the folks who lead these industries know that there's a better way. It's up to us to continue to demand and facilitate that change. Black people from around the world, you know, we are at the bottom of every list, right? We live shorter and we die sooner, you know. So and we carry a lot of the health consequences of bad environmental and health policies. And so I think that the urgency for us to do something about it is here. Many countries are doing things about it. There are a lot of smart people that are working on solutions. There are a lot of innovations that are happening that we need to help people stand up some of those innovations, help Black folks from all around the world do well at those innovations so that they can, we're not just spectators as this transition happens to cleaner and lower fuels. We can't just be spectators. I think that's really important.
Right.
Well, we are already spectators, but what can we do to reduce that rate of being spectators?
Well, I think that I think a couple things that could be really helpful. So if you're having a conference next year, I think policy is one of it. I think entrepreneurial opportunity is important, where we can bring entrepreneurs from all over the African diaspora that are in this space.
Awesome.
There's capital that's out there. There's the World Bank. There's the U.S. has an import-export bank. There are lots of venture capital funds. And I think we need to come up with a strategic alliances that help entrepreneurs maximize this moment. Just from Africa to the Caribbean, to South America, to the United States and many other places, we have more than enough markets where if we support businesses and help them transition and scale up, that we can be leaders of that. China right now is like a runaway train. They are investing heavily all over the world in clean energy and clean transportation. And this is if we do this now, Africa and Africans and people of African descent can rule economically for the next 200 years if we go in aggressively now.
Wow.
If we don't catch up now, we will be spectators like we have been on airplanes, like we have been with computers, and like we've been with the automotive industry and the shipping industry the last 100 years. This is a unique opportunity for us to really lead and not be dependent, but interdependent on others.
Yes, but talking Africa will say, oh, we don't have the means. We don't have the financial means. How can we get involved?
I would say that there are lots of folks who have the financial and intellectual capacity that could be of value to Africa. And I think it requires bringing the right people to the table. Not that everyone will be at the table at the same time, But I think if any president of Africa, an African country, convene a meeting of people in the clean energy sector and say, this is what we want. We want to put the next, we have 100,000 school buses. We want to make them low to zero emission over the next 5 years. And this is what we have. And we're going to bring other folks with capital to do that. Or we want to put 10 million charging stations and put, solar and EV charging stations across Togo or Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast over the next 5 years, and we need to raise $100 billion to do that. You'd be surprised how many entrepreneurs we need, and this is what we need. We want to bring engineers. We want to bring EV charging companies, manufacturing facilities, solar company, people that can install solar and train locals on how to install solar. You will be surprised how many people will respond to that, because there are people that have the resources, whether they're Black, white, or otherwise, but they need to know that there's opportunity, especially right now with Trump being in the White House. A lot of companies, both European, American, white, Black, otherwise, are looking for markets, right? Because so many people invested heavily when they under former President Biden. They're looking for markets, and there are a lot of folks who are interested, and they just need to know that where the opportunity is. And believe it or not, a lot of folks don't always know about the opportunities that exist in Africa.
Should we therefore appeal to the African leadership to trust the African diaspora more and rely more on them and request them very gently to join them so that together they can work this out?
Yeah, I think that would be great, because of, if we come from an economic lens, and there are so many folks, what I have found running our organization, we have members that are all over the country, although our primary focus is DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. I will tell you that not only in Africa, but in the Caribbean and other points around the world, if we can get started, right? Mm-hmm. This is an area where we can win, right? Because a lot of whites haven't figured it out. The market is still evolving. We have a lot of folks who are in the space that can do some great things, that have access to capital. And I think that if people were invited to a opportunity, and we kind of laid out, and we have some people that are sincere and genuine and saying, hey, we want to get some things done. We know it's not going to happen overnight, but we want to come up with a 5-year plan of deploy. We don't want a lot of research. We want people that's going to come in here and help us build.
Get things done.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. Mr. Thompson, it's a good thing we're doing this on Zoom, because I feel like jumping up and down. We do have the markets, we do have the opportunities, and we are definitely going to work together, because, we are telling people that our people have the brains, the capacity to solve our problems. And I am so glad, this is our brain drain, because without Dr. Crossley, I would not have known you. A few years ago, I changed the definition of brain drain, not just to be brains leaving Africa, but people of African descent not having access to each other's brain capacity, and what you need to share your brains need to go to Africa through all the African descendants, the global African descendants. And it's a good thing we are giving you guys 10 months advance notice. Like I said, you will get an invitation letter from me, a formal invitation letter, within 24 hours. Let your people know this will be a one-stop shop, where you meet decision makers, policy makers, other investors, entrepreneurs. The market is there, the opportunity is there, and we're going to make it happen. Back to the anchors.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Go
would
ahead.
love to help make sure that's successful. I know people all over the globe, and
Awesome.
I would love to be supportive of that.
Awesome.
Ambassador?
Yes. You were saying earlier, I heard you say if we could switch over to soy, sustainable fuel, which I believe comes from soybeans. Is that what you were
That's
saying?
one of
Or
the sources. That's one. That's one of many
corn.
sources.
So we're talking about using vegetables. But with the farms here in America, at least let me just say the farms I know about over here on the East Coast, we seem to be losing more farms. Now in Philadelphia, I know we have a Black Farmers Association and Coalition. We've got Black farmers. Um, our Black farmers here are doing amazing things with growing healthy, non-GMO food with seeds. And I know that that's pretty hard for farmers because those that are selling those genetically modified seeds, once those seeds, I forgot what the term is, but once that seed blows into your yard or to your farm, they can now say you can't grow your food anymore because now we found our products over there. So, oh, my question was, oh goodness gracious, it jumped right out of my head. Anyway, so with the lack of farms that we have, how much farms or how many farms do we need to be able to grow that much soybean to be able to make fuel out of?
Well, let me just say this. I don't know how many farms we need, but what I do know is that um, we pay farmers not to grow in the United States, right? And in many places around the world. And unfortunately, even though we have a lot of hungry people, we throw out a lot of food, right?
Mm.
Fortunately, over the last 20 years, they've done taken a lot of cooking oil, which we used to throw out. Now they take some of the fats from that cooking oil. Now you make money off of that, right? A lot of restaurants make money off of people collecting their cooking oil.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, what happens though with the biofuel industry, a lot of African American and African and Afro-Caribbean or folks throughout the diaspora don't make money off of these the biofuels industry, right? And that's one thing I would like to see change.
Okay.
So I remember I live in Maryland, just outside of DC, and when I looked last year, the average farmer in our county made less than $20,000 a year, which is
Wow.
small.
Very
Uh,
small.
yeah, and so
That is ridiculous.
Yes.
it is ridiculous. And it's a struggle. And so we have to open that market. We have to open up markets for Black. We got to get one, more Black farmers around the world. And two, we have to open up markets for them so that they can be successful,
Hmm.
right? And so that's one of the things that um, I would love to see is more Black farmers growing soybean and other uh, things that are good for the renewable fuel, for the environment. The other thing is like trying to make sure that more Black farmers around the world are having solar farms and also wind turbines on their property. Because think about it, if they had a solar array on their property, if they had a um, uh, wind turbines on there, and they were growing soybean and other or corn or something like that for the biofuels industry, they would be doing very, very well. Now, we do have to be mindful of tariffs right now, but overall, they would be making a lot more money. And we have to share that information with people. A lot of them don't even know about that.
Right. I just text my brother who he's Nigerian, he lives in Canada, but he has a farm back in Nigeria, and he started growing soy last year.
Oh, nice.
And I just asked him, was he growing soybeans for fuel or for food? He hasn't answered, but who would have thunk it that a conversation on transportation would end up talking about food, how
I
it's
know.
I would never have thought that we would be talking about fuel and stuff when that comes to transportation, and we're talking about farms. It's such a
Yeah,
wonderful
I've been
connection.
on soybean farms in Maryland. And I've been in I think in Iowa as well.
Hmm.
But yes, it's there's a saying, I didn't invent it. Our people suffer from the lack of knowledge, right?
Yes.
So it's important for us to think about how we can empower people with information and then help them apply that so that they can make money and create a circular economy. Um, but I think that's, right now, some of the critical minerals for electric vehicles come out of Africa. We know that some of the critical minerals for planes come out of Africa. We know some of the critical minerals for cell phones and laptops and other technology come from Africa.
Hmm.
As we talk about moving towards sustainable airplanes and also ships and boats, they're also trying to get them to pollute less as well, and they will likely be using um, low emission fuels as well. That's either propane or biofuels as well. So it's a
And
big market, and if you're growing soybean, wow,
wow,
get your brother plugged in. There's
that's
a number of organizations where he can learn more about the industry.
I,
I just called someone that I know who is getting into it, and unfortunately, he's in a meeting. But I'm sending this. I just sent the link to him. I'm too excited about this. This is that's why I love this show because
it is good. This is powerful.
yes, this is amazing.
So I heard you say that you know people all over the world. Um, I guess we can talk offline, but I want to know, who do you know in Kenya, specifically Kenya, who may be doing this type of sustainable fuel, who might be looking for interns. My nephew just graduated with a he wants to be a petroleum engineer.
So
And
that will be offline, Ambassador Lisa. So we
Yes,
don't
yes.
have the
That's why
show.
I'm just throwing it out there. I said we can talk offline,
Mm.
but this is good because we have people on the continent who are going to school for things that I was thinking, what in the world is a petroleum engineer and what's he going to do because there are no jobs? But you're saying that if we're growing soybean, that's an industry that can turn into whatever is necessary.
Yeah, I mean, I think if your nephew just graduated with that, you know, um, petroleum is going to be around for a long time. Although it will be used less
Hmm.
over time, especially as we get closer to 2030, 35, etc. However, if he's an engineer, he can be looking at different patent ideas and other things, that how do you reduce some of the toxins and pollutions, and come up with a lot of different patents that he can become very successful with on decarbonizing in the engineering space, the use of petroleum and other things in the sustainability market. Like, there are a lot of people trying to figure out how to come up with new inventions um, uh, in the transportation sector to make things cleaner and leaner and faster, right? So, for example, just because he went from petroleum, I mean, like, people want to figure out, how do you convert gas-powered cars to electric faster and cheaper, right? Whoever comes up with that model, because they're doing it right now for um, big trucks and buses and stuff like that, and delivery vehicles. They're already doing that. And now they're trying to get it done faster and cheaper. But right now, you can get that done in 2 to 3 days. Take a diesel powered truck and make it into an electric truck, right? But if he's into that type of stuff as a petroleum engineer, if he focuses on how do you, because there are people that convert cars right now from gas to electric, but they have not perfected that to do it on scale and faster.
Okay. I do know that our transportation system in Philadelphia has made that conversion. Uh, Most of our buses are new and they do run on fuel efficient fuel, not the diesel that we used to. They're all of them say clean energy buses. And I do notice that especially at the depots where the buses are beginning and ending, there are signs. If you're going to be here longer than a minute, turn the bus off. No idling allowed. And I always wondered why. I'm like, this. It seemed like it would cost more to start the bus up every time by shutting it
It's
off.
all that exhaust.
Yes, but now that you're saying that, I said, now I see it makes sense to turn it off and start it up again.
They burn, number one, it burns a lot of fuel because they have, there's a lot of studies that show just having them idle less saves you money on your bottom line. So there's a lot of that. So say you have 1,000 buses idling 4 hours a day. If they just idle 1 hour a day over the course of a year, you're going to save tens of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
Secondly, when you talk about the health impact, right? So when you say you have 50 buses or 100 buses at a bus garage and they're idling, all that exhaust is going to the local residents and it's coming right into that whatever little office is there too. So
Right.
you're getting all that exhaust.
That's
And
a lot
in
of
a lot of
exhaust.
places, a lot of these places, they don't even have a garage. So, people are out there working on cars for hours on end, on buses for hours on end, outside getting 100% impact on that from that exhaust as well.
Wow.
Dr. Crossler has been so quiet. I don't know if she's intimidated by the guests she brought, but I know
I don't think she's intimidated. She's being respectful.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know she's never intimidated. So I wanted her to weigh in before it go on the break.
Okay. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So this is for Antoine. I don't know where Abu Dhabi is, but I did get a message from Mr. Raymond St. John. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not, Mr. Antoine, but I'll read you his text message. It says, so I know he, okay, I'll just read his text message. It says,
is it safe to read it online? Because there are going to be thousands of people watching this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, he can always say but he's an honest person. He says, it's so nice to catch up. Blah, 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 blah. And he said something about, oh, wait, hold on, that one. Okay, here we go. I've been still supporting African-based humanitarian works. I'll be back. Here, let me pull over. He said, I'll be back there in January. He said to bring donations. I don't know what that means. He said for business, WHEW. He had to, he was overseas and he's launching an oil trading fund in Abu Dhabi for mid next year. In the meantime, he said he's been building the infrastructure for it and raising capital. So I was just thinking, Mr. Antoine, Honorable Antoine Thompson, that he would probably be a person that could help with the efforts that you all are speaking about with the solar or the infrastructure or whatever he does. If I go really quick, I know it's at the top of the hour and you guys want to do something that you normally do. But when I looked him up on LinkedIn, it says that he's with a bank. What his name is Raymond. Okay. And it says he is private. He's the chairman of the World Century Bank or something, and that he does private equity, M&A, mining, infrastructure, real estate development, international geopolitical and governmental affairs, and something about member overseas security advisory, the diplomat security, U.S. Department of State, and a presidential appointee, the White House Office of American Innovation. Private enterprise operating in USA, UK, UAE, GCC, African countries of Kenya, DRC, Angola, and more.
Well, Dr. Cross, maybe get to Mr. Antoine behind the scenes and share that information with him. Ambassador Lisa, I think it's at the top of the hour.
Yes, it is the top of the hour, and our guest will have to leave, so he will not be here for the second half of the program, but we can continue a little bit of conversation. But before you go, and before we do go to the top of the hour, we want to thank you for coming and enlightening us about transportation, at least me, because I thought transportation was just that bus moving along and moving people and goods. But transportation has to do with the fuel, the type of fuel that is being used, and how we're not causing sickness and disease. So I want you to know how much I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to you coming back and sharing with us again.
Wait, real quick, does he have a final word? I'm just not saying that. Does he have a final word before he leaves?
I was going to do that.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for having me today. I love to come back in the future.
Definitely.
I appreciate all of your hard work, and this is an area that I really care about. I've been involved with so many other things in the transportation sector, and would love to have some more about some of the other things that happen with highways coming through communities and other environmental impacts of transportation as well. I look forward to working with you, and looking forward to developing a great partnership as we move forward. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much on behalf of Africa Online Media Corporation, and expect a formal invitation from me in the next 24 hours.
You're welcome.
Enjoy the rest of your day, and happy Thanksgiving holiday to you as well.
I know. Take it easy on the turkey.
Yeah. Well, we are at the
we
are at the top of the hour, and you know, at the top of the hour, we share our anthem. We encourage you to grab a drink of water, go check on that dinner if that's what you got going on, and be back inside of 5 minutes, as we will be back with our announcements and the remainder of our program.
Oh, Africa. Oh no. Africans, Africans for Africa. 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 Africans have many bright ideas. If only you let us share. If you really want to know my history, please come, sit down, listen to my story. God gave us a wisdom. He guides our footsteps, makes us shine and transform. Hey, as one people, with so many cultures, yet indeed we are one. Stand up, Africans, save Africa. Let us all unite behind AfricaOnline Media Corporation. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. It's time to come together, promote awareness, progress, and solution. Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans, Africans for Africa. All Africans can rally for a common cause, to believe without judgment in what our brother does, to identify and resolve our challenges, to allow each other's ideas without regard to standards. As one people with so many cultures, yes indeed we are one. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. Let us solve all the problems plaguing our continent. Stand up, Africans. Let's save Africa. Let us empower Africans in and out of Africa. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. AfricaOnline Media Corporation, that's a good way to start. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. They have all the resources we need to benefit our society. Oh. Education for everyone, if we believe. Prosperity for Africans, if we believe. Medical facilitation for Africans, if we believe. Stand up, Africa, yes, for Africa. AfricaOnline Media Corporation, that's a good way to start. Stand up, Africans. Let's save Africa. Africa is the cradle of civilization, the motherland. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. We were enslaved not because we were weak, but because of our hospitality. Stand up, Africans. Let's save Africa. Jump on the AfricaOnline miracle jet. Don't be left behind. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. Together we shall succeed. Together we will win. Stand up, Africans. Let's save Africa. We are writing our own story. Stand up, Africans. No more lies. Africans own Africa.
No more lies. Africans own Africa. That is our, that is our anthem. And it was written by our chairman, Her Royal Highness, Reverend Pam. And we own full rights to it. And we hope that it blesses you as much as it blesses those of us who are here. We'd like to welcome Dr. Agoji. We are glad to see him. I believe he may be in between baby deliveries, but we're going to...
I don't think he's at the hospital, and I apologize. I realized I was not muted when I was talking.
I know, I was getting ready to mute you, but then the song was over. But we're going to call on you anyway to talk about our sister organization.
Okay, well, let me do the announcements first. We are, Dr. Goji, I don't know if you saw my text. Can we do diabetes next Sunday? Kindly unmute.
Yes.
Good. Dr. Ogoji always says yes. So that's why he's the best. So we're going to be discussing diabetes next
another week. Okay.
Yeah. No, next Sunday is the last week. And
okay, that's why I looked to see. I was like, another week. Okay.
Oh, yeah. And where people need to be careful during Thanksgiving with all the sweets and pies and, I think pecan pie alone is one slice is 450 calories, and I don't know how many grams of sugar. Is crazy. So we're going to be discussing that, and of course, I'm so excited, Dr. Crossley. Thank you. I'm so excited about Mr. Thompson. I'll send him a formal invitation. What he's doing is really crucial. We do have the opportunities. We have the market. So next Labor Day, US Labor Day, not Africa Labor Day, because the Labor Day in Africa is a different date. But so September 3rd through the 8th, our sister organization will be having its 7th annual summit and charity ball in Accra, Ghana. We're going to be discussing healthcare. So the tickets are open. As a matter of fact, we have an early bird special going on now. Those who buy their tickets before December the 31st, they're going to save 10%. That's the first time we're doing that. So that's the early bird special. The link is in the chat box. I'll post it again. You can go to africasbrainbank.org, and check on the homepage. It will take you to the ticket link. If you want to sponsor, you want to speak about your business, Friday is dedicated to businesses and investors. And for the first time, the event will be 6 days, not 5, because we're going to be going to Cape Coast and Mena Castle. That is something that we have to dedicate an entire day because of the emotional drain that it will have. So we'll do that on the last day of the summit, and that will be September the 8th. We could not combine it with anything else. So Ghana will be spectacular. We're encouraging everybody to be there. Our partners on the grounds are very, very excited. So we've already given the announcement. So I think Dr. Ogoji need to. Dr. Ogoji, we had an amazing guest. I encourage you to listen to we're streaming on YouTube. Mr. Thompson is amazing. I'll encourage you to listen to what he said. So go ahead, and Dr. B also just sent me a text. She'll be here next Sunday too for the diabetics topic. All right, Dr. Ogoji, the mic is yours.
We talk about transportation, correct?
Yes.
Transportation and telecommunication.
Okay. What's my take on this? Well, transportation and telecommunication are both ways of communication. Transport, movement from place to place. The issue of transportation in Africa is mainly a problem of poor and road network, affecting movement of goods and services from the rural area to the city. Absence of other alternative form of transportation, like railway is nowhere developed. Underground transportation is nowhere developed. Big cities like Lagos, one guy once said that people who live in Lagos should deserve heaven because they spend a lot of time on traffic. Because we don't have underground railways, city energy efficient transport like the electric cars or the light rails or the air rails. We don't have those things developed. There's a big market in Africa to develop those. So as we talk about this, investors, people like us, people in diaspora should be talking to the people in charge of government to plan for better transportation system in Africa as a whole. Starting with the big cities to make it more efficient, because anytime I want to go from the Lagos Lekki to the mainland, I dread the traffic. I spend 2 hours on the road. So planning our big cities to make transportation more efficient with modern transportation, including railways, underground subways, is a big area of that is investment and exploitation to make it more efficient. That's one area. Then intercity transport and rural transport between the rural area and the major cities is a big problem too, because most farmers are located in the rural area, so they cannot bring their goods to the city without making the food become too expensive for consumers to pay for it. So transportation in Africa is very, very virgin. We have a long way to go, but we will get there. Telecommunication, on the other hand, has taken a giant stride in the past 10, 15 years. I remember when I was in university, in college, less than 20 years ago. No, I'll take it back. Less than 25 years ago, I was still in medical school. If I want to talk to my families abroad, I'll go to a friend's. I have a friend in Ibadan that has a landline. I'll go there, they'll call me on the landline, I'll answer the phone call. If I want to call people, I have to go to the telecom, like we call it night in Nigeria, and make phone call. But now, telecommunication, that has improved significantly because TikTok, WhatsApp, tap, send, Boss Revolution. So telecommunication has gone viral. So telecommunication in Africa now is no longer a problem because anybody can have access to cell phone, internet, and communication. Only problem is that it's still very, very expensive. Why do I say so? If I pay my $50 per month or maybe $100 per month here in America, you can, I mean, with this like cricket, you can pay $50 a month and have unlimited data, unlimited minute to talk as much as you can. We don't have that in Nigeria. I don't know about African countries. If you spend $10 in Nigeria and buy a credit for your phone, by the time I talk about 1 hour, it's gone. So anytime in Nigeria for a month, I spend about up to 100,000 naira or more than $200 on transport on communication on my cell phone because I like to talk, I like to use my data. So it costs a lot of money to use data in Africa, but it's available, but it's more expensive. So the next stage in telecommunication, find a way to make it more affordable, where people can pay one-time fee and have unlimited data, unlimited minute to talk as much as they can. Of course, that comes with a caveat because, you know, we have unlimited data, unlimited minutes is a good thing, but that becomes, that might, how will I put it? For the teenagers, we try to limit the amount of exposure to internet. Those teenagers growing up in part of the world, parents are expected to control the amount of time they spend on the internet, on their data, on their YouTube, because it can become a problem because it's widely available. We may not have that problem in Africa because for you to spend the whole time on YouTube, you have to spend some money to do that. So that may be a limiting factor. So either way, communication in Africa is better compared to 20 years ago. We still have a long way to go. It's still expensive for people to afford. Road transportation is nothing to write home about. We have a long way. We have not started investing in road transportation. The roads are bad, transports are bad, railways not developed, underground railways are not developed. We have a long way to go for transportation. That's my take.
Thank you, Dr. Goji. You know, I wish he was still here, Antoine, because I did have another question. He said, I believe he said that you can't go from Ghana to Nigeria without having to get on a plane and go back to Europe to come back. Is that what he said?
I wasn't, but that's true. I mean, I went to Benin Republic about when I was in Nigeria. I drove my car from Lagos, crossed the border, past Cotonou, the main city. I went to the more western part of the state. Took me 3 hours to drive. And the only problem I had was I have to make some special documentations before crossing the border. I got to the border, I have to pay some money. I was driving.
Okay, but you didn't get a visa to go, you didn't get a visa before you left? No. West Africa, ECOWAS country don't need visa to travel within countries. So within the ECOWAS region, traveling is easy. Okay.
Once you have documentations, I don't need a visa, but I needed because I was going in my own car. I know what they call laissez-passer, which is something you pay so I can cross over. I also needed to pay a big amount of money on both the Nigerian side and the Benin side. They have to stamp my car documentation both sides. What is that cars are cheaper in Cotonou compared to Nigeria. So I have to pay that money. So I know that they document my car as I drove it from Nigeria to Republic of Benin. I can come back to and fro. And what I paid almost about $200 for that, but that's a one-time fee.
Okay.
That car now, I can use that to go to Cotonou anytime, any day. I will not pay that fee again.
Okay.
but it's easy. But then we're talking, that's a major from Lagos to Cotonou is intercity transportation.
Okay,
Good in Africa.
intercity.
Yeah,
Not
but if you're living from Cotonou or from Lagos to Owerri, which is one from my city, my hometown, still have good roads. But you have to leave the rural areas where the farms are to bring those food to Lagos, or we still do what we call nomadic type of farming in Nigeria, where the people carry, instead of having putting cows and cattle in ranches and raise them, the people carry their cows with trucks, from the north to the east. Then they come and put the cattle in a farmland. Then they move the animals from place to place to eat, and then in the long run, they destroy people's crops. That's a big problem. But most of the countries in Nigeria now, and most even northern Cameroon, most West African countries, we have the northern side and the southern side. Southern side are predominantly Christians, businessmen, and do that differently. The north is dominated by Muslims and some Fulanis who are cattle rearers. Because of imbalance in power, somebody will carry his cow from the northern Nigeria, come to the eastern Nigeria with transportation to feed your cow. Instead of going to buy grass to feed your cow, you take a cow to somebody's cassava farm and destroy the whole cassava.
Oh.
And then if you want to talk, they will kill you.
Wow.
But that's part of the problem. And if you form a local vigilante to fight back, the government come after you because I'm sorry, there's a secret agenda between Nigeria, talk about Nigeria, and a secret agenda between turning the whole country into a Muslim country by destroying Christian faith. And what Trump said about Christian persecution in Nigeria, it is true and true and true and true. I don't care what people say about it. The luck I have in my own part of the country is that because we are in the southern part, the middle belt is predominantly Christian. They are the one taking all the brutal. 2 days ago, they kidnapped 301 girls from St. Mary's Secondary School in Niger State. How do you kidnap 301 students from school that take 3 hours to kidnap and nobody says anything? It takes hours. In Cameroon, you may be aware of this, they kidnapped a priest in the church 2 days ago. Then 5 priests and 2 young men and 2 lay people went to get the priest. They kidnapped all of them. Now they released all of them except 2. Father John Tata, my principal in St. Louis, he's still in captivity now. The bishop said, I'm not going to pay a dime. And the bishop said, if you don't release Tata by Wednesday 28, he's going to close all the church in that region. If not released by Monday, himself and all the priests are going to the forest. Either they come with the priests back or they keep all of them there. So
wow.
Let's not change the topic.
Dr. is a big problem. Dr. Goji, I read about that kidnapping this morning. I was very shocked because, I mean, as a Christian, as a Catholic Christian, I feel for them that instead of fighting for the liberation of, they call it liberation of Southern Cameroons, they are instead kidnapping innocent people.
So it's terrible. We're talking about transportation in Africa needs to get better because this has to cause the cows. If the cows were supposed to be in ranches and they kill them in slaughterhouses and transport the meat in frozen vehicles to the shops for people to buy and eat, we'll have this problem. Because there's no proper transportation to move cold food from northern Nigeria to southern Nigeria or northern Cameroon to southern Cameroon. They carry the cows live on a truck and bring it to the southern part of Cameroon or Nigeria for sure. Then the headers will go to somebody's farmland and destroy all your crops. You dare not say what. You say what, you are deaf. If you form a local vigilante and fight them back, the government could come after because the country is designed in a very faulty way where the military security in country starts with local security.
Excuse me.
Anyway,
that being said, Dr. Goji, we're getting
back to transportation, please. Let's talk about this. I'm too emotional. Sorry, guys.
It's all right. Yeah, we're getting short on time, so.
No. If Dr. Ogoji needs some more time, please, let's give him a few more minutes.
And I have a 2-minute video I want to share.
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's okay. I'm good. Let's
So wow. I have not had a chance to read it, but everybody's been sending me these articles about the kidnapping going on in Nigeria and the Catholic girls that just was kidnapped. I just have not had a chance to read them today. But this was a very interesting conversation today about transportation. Like I said, I never thought about transportation in terms of the fuel that is used. And I wish he was here because I did get an answer from one of my pilots. And he said that we use 100 low lead and jet fuel out of our Northeast airport. And I want to know if that was good fuel, since he was saying that we need to be starting to use alternatives. But I was looking to have guests from our transportation. SEPTA stands for Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority. But today is the Eagles game because I had two of them say, what time? That was yesterday. I said, no, it's Sunday. But everybody is caught up in the Eagles game. I think they're playing the Cowboys today. But I did get a video from one of my friends. He was featured on the news, and it's only a 2-minute video, and I wanted to share his perspective on transportation. If you give me a second to get prepared here. Okay, here we go.
SEPTA's Bus Route 17. Well, this operator might be the highlight of your day.
Khalif Baxter has been navigating the streets of Center City for the past 20 years and loves every minute of it.
Action News photojournalist Todd Haas has this week's SEPTA Spotlight.
It's a good feeling when I get to pick my people up every day, get them to where they gotta go, on time, safe. I'm Khalif Baxter, bus operator, Southern District. My dad worked for SEPTA for 30 plus years. My uncle did 30. And, coming out of high school, my dad said, I get you in. I said, all right. Old Bertha's what I call her. This is old Bertha. She been good to me. Like when I'm driving and I gotta wiggle through and all that, and then I hear my passenger say, that guy can really drive. I don't know how he did it. I lived in this city my whole life. This bus, how'd he do that? They pay me the big bucks, baby, that's why. I gotta watch and see everything. I gotta hear and see everything on the bus, around the bus, and do so much on keeping myself safe and my passengers safe. We gotta deal with so much out in these streets. And if I can, lighten some of that up, the sauce, the French boy. Oh, you forgot about it? All right. Things I have to deal with. Just for 2 blocks. Oh, remember what Khalif said? He's a fool, All right, bet, I'm good now. I'm well liked on this side of the Mississippi. Yeah, I like this job. I love this job. Y'all come back tomorrow. And I'm great at it. Yeah, I am. Thanks, Dad, you know what I'm saying? Told me to get in here, I'm here. Let's rock.
Bus is turning.
Khalif is very good at what he does, so much so that our news featured him as one of the SEPTA spotlights. And we have the big double long buses. I think they're 30 feet, something like that. Big long buses going through narrow city streets. And a lot of time cars are parked. Here's one of my bus drivers here coming on. Donovan.
Nice. How you doing?
Good. Welcome. I just finished showing Khalif Baxter's video. Donovan is also a SEPTA driver out of the Southern District as well. Oh, it looks like he's logging on in 2 places.
Yes, I try to catch you guys because I'm at work. So.
Oh, he's at work. Oh, so
I catch you guys. I got about 10 minutes real quick.
Okay, we were talking about transportation, and can you tell us what kind of buses? I know that SEPTA now has the fuel efficient buses. So can you tell me a little bit about your experience as a driver and what kind of bus you're driving?
Okay, so the fuel efficient buses are very, they're good for the simple fact that they don't break too much noise. They save a lot of gas. When we get to certain lights, they cut off for a split second and whatnot. They don't burn as much fumes as the old buses do. Like you might be driving on the street one day, you might see a bus with a bunch of black smoke going on the street. They don't really do that too much anymore, or too often, whatnot. So I really think it's like more so for the environment, and
Wonderful.
more so for the environment and the comfortability of other people. Because like I've been here for almost 5 years now, and if I had a bus that was like old and it would make noise the whole shift, and your air would be ringing by the time you get off.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's good for us and others, and just the environment for the most part or whatnot. I love the fuel efficient buses. They are way quicker. They have the kneel and go feature where you don't have to wait for the bus to come back up. You can get down the street faster, whatever that nature. I mean, it works out. It works out in so many ways because it's like up to date technology. So for the most part, I think it's actually great for the environment and up to date technology to this day.
That's interesting because our guest had to leave early, but he was saying how the transportation, the fuel efficient, we ended up talking about fuel and the sustainable fuel. And I never thought about those type of things when I
Yeah.
think about transportation. I just thought about you guys moving the buses and getting the people from point A to point B. And I'm glad that you were on and be able to come on and share with us about what's going on. I see you outside the Southern District. I just saw you step outside the door.
Yes, ma'am.
It's,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
it's pretty dark, and we thank you for coming on for these few minutes. We certainly appreciate hearing from an actual driver. But like I said, I just
I
say,
appreciate you guys. I got like a trip left on the 17th, so
oh,
I had a few minutes left before I, finish my day out. I've been here since 8 this morning.
okay.
Yeah, so I work sun up and sundown. But yes, for the most part, it's definitely a great thing. And we do have like the zero emissions buses coming soon. They actually ran up a hydrogen, so we don't know how
Oh,
how we're gonna do that yet because I've heard that hydrogen buses cannot be around regular buses.
they
So they're kind
cannot
of
be
like
around what?
they can't be around other buses like hydrogen fuel and regular buses. We have some hydrogen buses coming out soon, but they can't be around regular buses with regular fuel.
Oh, wow.
So they're gonna be separated from where we are to like in a different department. So like we might be parked over here with the regular buses. They might have their own lot. And then on
Okay.
top of that, a lot of the safety features are changing. They have full seat belts now stuff of that nature. The destination signs are changing due to, people, what's up, man? People's visual or not, a lot of elderly people at the stops can't really see too well. So at
Right.
nighttime, some lights to turn to white. So we have a few things up our sleeve coming soon. And then for the safety measure too, also, we also have new safety windows for the drivers and whatnot. So it's slowly changing, but shortly. So we're just hoping that, with the government and the state, with all the funding and everything going on, they kind of catch up and appreciate, the transportation company more because right now, there's a lot going on with politicians right now and whatnot. And we're kind of like the last to, get funded and to get money. But I just hope they understand that this is people's livelihoods, how to get to work, how kids get to school, how
Yes.
I feed my family. And I just hope that, in the long run, that they take transportation more serious so we can have some more money to fund these buses so we can keep it going.
Wonderful.
Here's a new one
Wonderful.
right there. That's a new one.
That's not
That's
when
actually,
is
that's
that
a
the
new
two
one.
or that's the two? Okay.
That's actually the two right there, and I'm driving the 17.
Yes. This show. Can you show how long the 17 is?
Oh my God.
I
If
think
you see
other
how long
cities.
I drive, if you believe me or not, I drive this bus like my car.
Okay, I just said just scan, just walk down so they can see the connection because I think other cities have these buses as well. I know I've seen them
Yes.
in Delaware. Dart
So
have
this is technically a 60-foot bus.
60 foot, not 30. Okay.
No, so this is actually 60 foot, and our basic bus right there is 40 foot. So this is pretty much two of those into one,
Yes.
but with an extension. And this is like, believe it or not, people don't understand how fast this bus moves. This bus moves faster than you think it do.
Okay.
So a lot
Okay.
of people don't know that. But I appreciate you guys letting me talk. I hope you guys, stay safe and continue to use transportation. And if you guys in the near future, hope we can set up something so I can be here a little bit longer, okay?
Yes. Thank you, Donovan,
All
and
right, have a good night,
happy
y'all.
Thanksgiving to you.
You as well. You
And
see your family.
I see you as well.
All right, thank you.
Bless you. I've had the privilege of knowing Donovan since he was a little boy, like maybe 3 or 4. Now he's a grown man working for SEPTA, driving for SEPTA, and I'm extremely, extremely proud of him. Nia-san, we're going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, I will request Dr. Ogoji and Dr. Crosslin to please unmute so we can do a round of the table, starting with, as I always like to do, well, Dr. Ogoji is here already. So Dr. Ogoji, your last word.
And my last word is that transportation and telecommunication are an important part of life. While telecommunication have improved significantly across the continent, it's still very expensive. our goal we plan let's work to bring down the price to make it more affordable. It's available, but let's make it more affordable. Transportation, we have not started. We have not started. So even though it's getting better, I mean, as you really said, you can drive from Lagos to Accra on a major highway, but that's just inter-country, and it just goes through a highway. That's not enough. We need country to be connected. I mean, I didn't even know. I was in Atlanta once. Somebody told me that if you see Highway 75, that means it's interstate. If it's 3 numbers, it's within the state. I didn't know that.
Yes, I have that whole breakdown of what the highways mean. I found that to be very interesting as well.
So I know if I'm traveling from Onitsha, which is a city in Nigeria, going to Aba or East Nigeria, you go through the major cities and get hold up in traffic. They should show you that when you come to Base, you can have a bypass. Just go through the city. You don't have to enter the city. So we have a long, long way to go in transportation. But when we get there,
yes,
we're only most African countries are less than 60 years old.
Right.
America is over 300 or 400 million years old, you know?
300 million. We're only celebrating our 250th, I think, next year.
The 250 next year.
It's the 250th,
so,
yes, next year.
We're only less than 100. By the time we get to 100, things will be there.
Yes, I agree.
If
Dr.
our leaders
yes,
will do 2 things. One, make themselves to be held accountable.
Yes.
Like I'm soliciting that. Look, they should stop being election in Africa. If Paul Biya could win 8% of election in Northwest and Southwest Cameroon, Amba region, he won 8% of the vote, then why waste the money to hold elections? So elections should be scrapped. I'm sorry. Let's believe we have some type of we'll call it like kingdomship, and then pray for God to give us leaders that can have the interest of people at heart, like Dubai, Saudi Arabia. Things are happening for the people. If we want to do election, then it should be the people should have the power to change the leader.
I agree.
Otherwise, we're going nowhere.
We're talking about transportation and telecommunications.
I said we'll get better if.
Because I see your hands going, you about to get excited.
Yes.
If our leaders can do the right thing and people can decide to, people have the power to move their leaders when they are not performing well.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Ogoji. Africa, you say we'll get there. Yes, it will get there. It's been 60 years more or more since independence. Right. Hoping that we will keep that hope alive and make sure that we get those leaders who can make that change. That being said, Dr. Crosslin, your last word.
So thanks, everyone. Thank you, Her Excellency, Dr. Pam Bamanong, and to Prophetess Lisa, and to you also, Dr. Goji, and to you, Professor Nielsen, and the global audience. Thank you all for allowing me to be here today. And I would just like to say, I think Africa is in very good hands because they have you all, AfricaOnline team, to bring awareness to the issues and bring real results and solutions to the table. And I always enjoy learning. And what I've learned is that water and energy, electricity and transportation and telecommunications is all connected. And we cannot have one without the other because we need water for sustainability. We need the air to breathe. And let's not forget the fuel that is emitted in the rocket fuels that it reminds me of. That's why they don't like really explore space that much because of the pollution and the debris that it requires to even get to the moon. So thank you all so much. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Dr. Crosslin. And that being said, Africa, well, we will continue to go at that snail speed, but we will get there one day. That being said, all what we need is leadership that is intentional.
Intentional
leadership, people who come not because they want to serve themselves, but because they want to serve the people. Reverend, Ambassador, it's your turn. It's your turn for your last word.
I'm still a reverend. Thank you.
I know,
Yes.
I know.
Talk about transportation and telecommunication. I hope you all were blessed today. I hope you learned something that you did not know. We always intend for you to come away from Africa Online knowing something that you did not know. So if we've done that in your life today, we are excited. I know I am, not thinking that transportation included so much about fuel and how we move people from one place to the other, depending on the fuel, and how the fuel that's used will keep us healthy. And healthier people also produces that clean, sustainable fuel also produces less emissions on the climate. So it's all one big circle, but we must do our part to make sure that our universe and our world is around for our children in the next generations and the next years to come. Thank you again for joining Africa Online. We are here every Sunday from 4 to 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, talking about a variety of topics that are of interest to the African on the continent and those of us in the diaspora. Look forward to seeing you next week. Oh, also join us on Facebook Live or YouTube. Like and subscribe and leave a comment. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Her Excellency, is she back? Apparently not. So we will just have to wrap it up.
I am.
Yes,
I just want to say the show ended up being amazing. And I'm glad Dr. Goji was able to join us. We'll be discussing diabetes next week. And we are going to be collaborating with Mr. Antoine Thompson. Dr. Crosslin, thank you again for bringing him on board. And we'll see you. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. See you next Sunday. God bless.
You just took it from my mouth. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.